All right, we are live. So welcome back to DAP University. So today we got lots to talk about in our stream, okay? We're going to talk about why Web 3.0 is such an amazing industry to start your career in or to start over in your career, okay? We're going to actually look at a news story about this and kind of talk about, why this is important. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday. We're going to answer some of your questions, take a quick look at the crypto markets, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step by step from start to finish, then head on over to dapuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Automatic Beats, Machiavelli, David Stone. Let's see here. Culture Hives. We got Madison, Quinn, Roberts. Let's see here. Technically, Natasha, Super Glitch, if I'm saying that right. Awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into this, all right? So I want to talk about a couple things that I've seen pop up recently, okay? Talk about why Web 3.0 is one of the best industries to start your career in and start over in, okay? So let me just preface this by saying I know what it's like to basically be in a situation where you don't where you feel like the world is sort of passing you by with opportunities and not knowing how you're gonna make ends meet, how you're gonna build a future for yourself, having skills maybe that you got a college degree that's worthless, that's not worth anything, and basically you can't afford to go just back to school to retrain yourself. I understand all that stuff. I was there at one point in life, and that was one of the reasons that drove me into software programming in the first place. All right, now I was a programmer before I got into blockchain, but I distinctly remember what that feels like. Okay, so let me tell you why software industry, not just in itself, but also the crypto industry, Web 3.0 industry is really great answer to a lot of people who find themselves in that place, is because in many cases all the things most people worry about in terms of making that transition, whether it's I need a degree to do this. Well, not really, right? That's not really a problem as much. Or it's going to be super expensive and I can't afford to do it. Well, that's not really true. All right. Or whatever the long list of reasons is, just personal reasons. There's very few reasons why people would, discriminate against you getting into the crypto industry. It's because it's really about what you can do. All right. And the good news is getting to a point in the crypto industry, because it's in such high demand, where you can be valuable to somebody based on what you can do and not all these other factors. That requires not that much effort and not that much expense on the grand scheme of things. Not easy, all right, but it doesn't require as much effort as doing something like going back, getting a job, reskilling, jumping through all these hoops. And I actually want to talk about that because of something that I saw pop up here. So I'm going to pull this up on my screen here. This was a news story that was brought up from Walshy here, my co-host. If you guys have any stories you want to talk about, definitely ping Walshy down there. You can see his Twitter on the chat, or on his avatar there. So I want to talk about this, right, and illustrate these points. So crypto VC paradigm hires anon developer and high school student as a research engineer. Okay, so why is this a big deal? For two reasons. Number one, this person, like I was saying, is in high school. Okay. So people talk about, oh, I can't go learn this because I'm too young, or nobody's going to hire me because I'm too young. Well, that goes out the window. All right. Or, any other reason that you could possibly think that someone could discriminate on you or discriminate against you based on anything, right? That problem can also go away because this person has chosen to remain anonymous. They don't even really know this person's actual name. Okay. They don't know anything about this person other than what they can really do. All right. And that's why Web 3.0 is such a game changer. We have this culture of anonymous coordination online where no one ever has seen you. No one ever knows what your name is, but you can actually do things like build up reputation. You can do things like build up, trust just through your track record, okay, and your skills and demonstrating those things. And all these other things a lot of people worry about become completely secondary, okay? So I thought this is really cool. Paradigm's a huge company. They launched a $2.5 billion venture fund last November. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is I put this tweet on my Twitter the other day. I saw this, tweet right here. So I retweeted with some commentary. So I really got a 4.0 GPA in computer science, and a computer science degree, and a 4.0 GPA and a math degree in under 4 years while doing AI research at the at the best engineering school in the world. But now that I'm trying to break into the industry, literally none of it matters and feels like wasted time. So, I was saying basically, yes, I can confirm, me personally, I have no computer science degree. I got rejected from coding boot camp. That's a true story. College probably won't hurt you, but it's an unnecessary step if you want to build in Web 3.0. People care about what you can do, not what you studied. And so this is really critical because Web 3.0 is about as close to a meritocracy as you possibly can, basically a hierarchy that's based upon skill and what you can do, especially in the engineering side of things, okay? Because, there's such massive demand to create this technology, and hardly anybody on the face of the planet knows how to use those skills in a way that can satisfy that demand, which presents a huge opportunity for you because it's not that hard in the grand scheme of things to get good enough to get your foot in the door and provide value somewhere. It's not just like easy. It doesn't happen overnight, but compared to all these other, massive hurdles that a lot of people have to go through in order to even get started in their career, those are way fewer in something like Web 3.0. So that's one of the reasons I love this space. It's one of the reasons I love helping people get started in this space is because, it's awesome. So let's see, we got any questions here in the chat.
Someone asked if they're paying them in crypto.
Probably.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Web 3.0 crypto companies have a culture of, kind of dog fooding their own products.
Mm-hmm.
And actually using crypto, I guess is what I mean by that.
Yeah, no, I love this story. I love this story a lot.
Somebody says, Culture says he has a computer science degree. Doesn't really mean anything. Learn most of what it does from YouTube and Stack Overflow. Yeah, totally. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that a computer science degree is likely going to hurt you. It can hurt you. I mean, I want to be very clear about that. What are some of the ways that it can hurt you? Well, I know a lot of people who graduated with computer science degrees thought that they knew everything. And then it turns out that like when they get into a job, like they're not any better than somebody who just got out of a coding boot camp at actually like, just the nuts and bolts tasks of what you do in the workplace. But here's the thing, that's what actually gives you value at your job. Okay. I mean, I know this as someone who's been on every side of this equation, someone who's learned from scratch, I've been a freelancer, worked a regular job, now I hire developers. Like it matters more like what you can do now and what you're likely going to be able to do in the near future. Like that's what you get paid to do. So if you have a computer science degree and you walk into a situation where you're not competent in the programming languages, like why on earth would this person hire you just because you have a degree versus somebody who's got a couple years experience and no degree, like that's just how it works. Now, a lot of people hire computer science students for lots of other reasons, right? There's some things where a CS degree legitimately gives you a massive leg up. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that there's so many opportunities where you don't need that, okay? I know a lot of people hire CS people because they want to train people specifically for those tasks, and they think that the CS people have a pretty strong foundation to do that. That's totally true, too, and that fits about what I was saying a second ago. But the whole point I'm trying to make here is that there's a lot of opportunity to get started and to have a good career without having to do that. And some people like it. I mean, some people want that degree, they want that training, and that's fine too. I'm not knocking any of that stuff. But at the same time, don't think because you have it that's going to automatically make you good at something. It's like not really true.
That was the biggest hurdle in my career. When I was younger, when I was supposed to go to college was 2007, and I got a lot of advice online that I don't need to do that in order to succeed in life, and that it's basically kind of like a waste of time, and I'll say retroactively that I really do appreciate like that advice. And if you feel like you should go to college, go to college. But it worked out for me. I didn't go to college, and I found myself building startups, working for like account executives, and did my thing, and it was totally fine. And being able to code for me back then would have definitely been a launcher, an accelerator, which would have sped that process up, and no doubt about it. And this story is just a perfect example of that. What I loved about this story was that in the actual post itself, Gregory says that in his spare time he goes to high school.
That's right. That's right. It's awesome. I'm not sure what else you need to learn.
How to talk.
Okay, so we got let's see here. We got a couple other things that popped up. Hey, did we ever talk about the time NFTs, by the way?
Not that I can recall, no.
Yeah, I want to see NFT. I actually saw this when I was looking around the space yesterday. So I don't know I don't know if we saw when news broke about this. It's already live. But yeah, apparently Time did do an NFT. It's on top of Ethereum.
It's on Ethereum?
Yeah.
I wonder what it unlocks. I wonder if there's something like if you have it, you get something, or what it actually does.
Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of threw this on here again. I don't own these. I'm not like trying to show these NFTs or anything like that. It's full disclosure. But I did see this pop up yesterday when I was kind of inspecting the chain, and I was like, huh, I never heard about this.
How come we don't hear any kind of like backlash against Time for this, right? But you get one game developer that wants to put out some NFTs to go along with their game.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's legit. It's on the Time website, nft.time.com. It's pretty hard to fake.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Oh, you can connect your wallet too. That's really sweet.
Yeah, it looks like it's basically built by like a third-party developer. Then they just like plugged it into the subdomain. So somebody who knows how to do NFTs and Web3 just like did a really quick kind of thing. So anyways, it's not like a sponsored post. Like I said, I'm not like trying to show that NFT. I just saw it come up and I was like, Yeah, Time pieces. Magazines. Yeah. Culture says Time has been doing NFTs for months. Yeah, I just totally missed it. They're saying Paris Hilton's into Time. Okay, so apparently we're just late to the party.
Oh no.
There's too much to know. There's literally too much to know.
I'm like close to the pulse on the news as much as I can. It's just like there's so much going on out there.
Yeah, so Culture says like thoughts on the Twitter tipping feature. So I did see this come up yesterday. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not. So let me just pull it up here. I mean, it's on major tech news outlets. It's on TechCrunch. It's on Yahoo. Let's just pull it up here. So, so it's a pretty snarky headline. Sorry, Jack. You can send e-tips via Twitter now. So basically, Twitter. Well, I wish there was a good screenshot of this. You can basically see. I saw a demonstration of it yesterday, where basically it shows. Let me just pull it up. It basically shows the tipping feature. So, I mean, long story short is, Twitter's has crypto tipping and it supports Ethereum, and basically, one of some of the snarky headlines, apologizing to Jack Dorsey because, of course, Jack Dorsey stepped down as CEO of Twitter previously while he was CEO of Twitter, and still doesn't like Ethereum very much. It's pretty into Bitcoin, all that type of stuff. And I think some of the editorial headlines we're seeing here are just basically a reflection of of that, and saying, now that he's gone, we've got ETH tipping on Twitter. So I think here's the demo. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, so Well, okay, yeah, here it is. All right. So here's a little demo of how it works. So basically, you can do Venmo, PayPal, Ethereum address, and Bitcoin address. So I have a feeling. I guess my question is, so you can add your ETH wallet to your profile. Okay, we've already seen Twitter roll out support for NFTs, where basically you can connect your wallet and you can make your NFT your profile picture. Yeah, so we've already got that functionality. I mean, Twitter's basically been getting into crypto, and now I'm assuming that they're just going to let you use that same wallet address to receive tips. Okay, we had Bitcoin tips before, and so now I'm assuming it's going to let you use the same wallet. You can receive ETH, but I'm also assuming that you could probably also receive ERC20 tokens. And if I had to guess, I'm gonna venture off into saying that they're gonna basically turn Twitter into a fully fledged wallet, where basically you're gonna be able to like do stuff like you would in MetaMask and send NFTs peer to peer to other people. I don't know that the next logical step would be interacting with dApps on Twitter. I don't necessarily think that's like a logical next step. But if I had to guess, we'd have a very lightweight wallet basically built into Twitter, where it's just, I have an address, you have an address. We send crypto back and forth. We send NFTs back and forth, and it's got that basic functionality in it. That's my guess.
That'd be sick. I'd love they did that, having the wallet built in, and that goes hand in hand with what we were talking about just yesterday about that Web 2, Web 3 fusion. I'd love to see that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's basically, that's my guess. And again, I'm not trying to get into all the drama with Jack. I think Jack's built a really impressive thing here. You know what I mean? I'd love to even talk to Jack about what he's doing in the Web 3.0 space. I'd welcome that conversation, in the Bitcoin space. But some of this would also explain, basically Jack's departure. It could explain basically, Jack wanted to double down on something else in crypto. Because he doesn't, and also some of his critical comments, maybe of like Web 3.0 in general, because I got a feeling Twitter is just like, hey, we're going Web 3.0. This is where the world's headed. We've already got the users. We're going to turn Twitter into a Web 3.0 platform where we just take what we have, and now we add all these peer-to-peer features like tipping, sending NFTs, all that stuff. So I don't have any inside information on this. I'm literally just using my intuition and experience to forecast where this is possibly headed. Okay, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. It's just a very likely outcome in my view, and is a plausible explanation for recent events.
Yeah, it's hard to weigh in, right? With no insider information, just kind of speculating, right? When all is said and done, who's going to adopt what, which platform's going to do, like, people still talking about Facebook. Who knows if Facebook will do the same thing, right? Who even cares about Facebook? Also, that's also an opinion. And then all the other social platforms as well. Then you have all the native Web3 platforms and what they're doing, and then that just broadens the sphere of competition, like who's going to win. And I think Twitter's making the right moves for sure, incorporating it. Ethereum tipping, as well as potentially others in the future, because everyone's on Twitter, so it makes the most sense.
Yeah, totally.
There's a great question in the chat. Mudit Gupta says, how much time does it take to learn and break into the Web3 industry?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically, it just depends. It depends on what your background is. I can tell you based on what I've seen from other people and the general advice that I give to others. Okay. So the fastest that I've seen it happen, basically through like doing the training that we do here at Dap University, is basically about 2 months. Okay. That's the fastest, one of the fastest side of things. This is someone who had no programming experience, who learned, and then got a job. Okay. So that being said, this person had a lot of time available. In fact, this person quit their job in order to do that. I don't That's not the advice that I typically give people. I almost always say, like, stick with whatever, like, if you have to continue to provide income for yourself, like, don't quit your job to learn Web 3.0. I don't ever recommend people do that. I usually recommend that you just, learn while you've got that going on, and then make the transition once it's, once you've got it in the bag. So that's fast. I've seen it done. I just hired somebody for Dapp University who is a developer who made the transition from scratch, no programming experience, no nothing, in under a year. Okay, so got lots of people who are doing it in less than a year timeline. I always tell people that basically, if you're just starting from scratch and you want to actually get that first job, set a goal for yourself of 1 year. Okay, here's why. Basically, work tends to take the amount of time that you give it. Okay. And so if you have a goal, it's way more likely that it's going to be like this self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. Now you don't want to set a goal that's too hard, because then it's just going to cause you anxiety. All right. If you said, I have to have a new job in like 3 months, you might get it, but you might, you might not make it out sane on the other side. Right. And so I always say, like, use that goal of a year, because you might happen faster. You know what I mean? And even if it doesn't happen exactly in like 1 year, let's say it takes us a little bit longer, like, do you really care as long as you make it there? You just need to have an aim. You need to have something where you say, this is what it is. It's probably about how long it's going to take. And then you put the blinders on and you sit down and do the work. And now the second secret with that is consistency, is like working at it every day if you can. I realize not everybody can do it every day, but you want to try to get it to where you have some sort of realistic, predictable schedule that you can stick to. Some people say, how much time should you learn per day? There's no like set answer to that. As much as you can. If you could do an hour a day, that's awesome. Some people can't do that. You know what I mean? And so what you could do is, what if you could break that up? What if you could do, an hour, on a Monday, and then let's say for some reason you had a schedule conflict, you couldn't do it on Tuesday, and then you do like an hour 3 days a week during the work week, and then on the weekend you put in extra time, right? Like maybe you could do a couple hours or 3 hours, something like that, on a Saturday, or like you have to really think about it as a sacrifice while you're trying to get to this next thing. That's one of the ways that you actually make a life change, is you have to say no to some things in order to gain a reward later. But it's one of those things where the upside is so big for a lot of people who, are not super content with what they have now, that it's worth it, in my opinion. So let's see here.
There's a question from Alpha Boy. It says, what advice would you give to an 18-year-old in India?
What advice to give to an 18-year-old boy in India? Same thing, advice that I would give to pretty much anybody else who wants to break into the industry. Learn the skills. Just like we use in this channel, go check out my YouTube homepage. There's a video pinned there, how to become a blockchain developer in 2022. Okay, watch that entire video. There's not a lot that's different. Okay, the good news is, if you're in India, you don't have to work in India. Okay, there's lots of people who will hire you remotely. Okay, crypto is very distributed, so that opens up the global market like crazy. You want to show people what you can do, so you go through that. You create a portfolio, and yeah, it's just the same steps.
I was in a Discord meeting earlier today, and we were having a bit of a laugh at our lead story today, as I was telling them about it. And we all kind of agreed that to make sure that, when we all have kids, I don't have kids, when I do have a kid, or multiple kids, I'm going to make sure they get some kind of coding experience before age 10, just to see how they do. Right? It makes so much sense right now. Back in my day, coding was significantly harder, and they've definitely streamlined the entire process in the decades since.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to learn coding now than it was back in the day. There's a couple reasons for that. One is the languages. Like, we have more experience in understanding like what makes developer happiness, and we were just better at creating programming languages. If you're using an old programming language, that's not really true, but like newer stuff, we've found a way to make syntax that's developers like more. It's easier for beginners to learn. Has wider applications where you don't need to know 100 programming languages to do something. You can just do it like 1 or 2. Educational resources have gotten better. Online communities to find answers to your problems have gotten better. There's lots of reasons why it's easier now than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly right. I know you get this question a lot, but it is being asked. Basically, someone's advising to learn JavaScript over like Solidity to begin with. Would you recommend that?
No, I would recommend learning blockchain first. So start with Solidity and then learn JavaScript while you're learning Solidity, but with the main goal of, learning blockchain first. It's probably the most common question that I get is like, should I learn something before I learn blockchain? Absolutely not. I mean, you can. It's just it's way less efficient. I highly recommend just jumping in and learning blockchain first. You're probably going to forget a lot of what you learned before you get into blockchain.
And to provide just a little additional context there, the reason is because Solidity is the programming language for the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, and that's the majority of blockchains at the moment out there. So it means if you learn Solidity, you have the capability to program on many different blockchains all across the entire industry, as opposed to just a specific 1 or 2 with other programming languages.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's see here.
Ayush is asking, he says, tell us broad about resume for blockchain development. So what's the broad take on that?
I would focus more on your portfolio, especially if you're new. I would recommend focusing on your portfolio of your resume because your portfolio is going to help you stand out. Your resume is really not going to matter that much. Like I said, people care about what you can do, so you need to show them. So I would just build a project and put it out there in the wild. If you can put it on the mainnet and actually get some people to use it, that's even better. If you don't, that's okay too. You can put it on a test network, but just have something where you can show them where they can literally plug in their wallet and click buttons and it does something and then they can read the code. That's the best resume on the face of the planet because that shows that you know what you're talking about. You can show the wallet address that you signed the transaction with to deploy it. That that's you. You could sign that transaction on Etherscan. I mean, there's like they're gonna like the number of people on the face of the planet that can do that is pretty small compared to the demand, and that's what's going to land you the job, not what it says on your piece of paper.
Yeah, again, just really well said. I don't have anything to add there. I think you nailed it.
Now I'm telling you this like from every single side of the equation, like literally somebody who's had to go through this process and see what works, and then being on the other side of like hiring other people and like what am I looking for? So let's see here. Answer a couple more questions. I'm gonna jump off for today. Let's see here. Somebody says, in their opinion, learning the front end side of the dApp is more of a pain than the back end. Yeah, it can be. Yes, there's a lot of complexity when you're building front end applications, for sure. And the good news is if you hate front end development, then and you want to get into Solidity, well, it means you got to get really good at Solidity in order to offset that, because you could basically, work somewhere where that's your focus is on the back end side of things. But that just means you got to get really good at that compared to front end in order to provide that value. Basically, if you want to stay away from front end, you need to be so good at the back end. People don't want you to leave the back end. And then, it's good to still have those front end skills to be flexible and be able to accomplish some front end things because you don't really want to be helpless on the front end, especially when you're starting out, because that little bit of well-roundedness will help for sure. But you just got to get really good at back end if that's where you want to stay. So somebody's asking me what I think about the X2, Y2 marketplace airdrop. So I don't have a lot of thoughts about it, but I was watching this yesterday. Again, this is not, I'm not trying to like, this is not sponsored or like trying to shill this project or anything. I actually just want to check on it. Got it here.
Yeah, this one went under my radar. I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. Basically, um, it was a new NFT marketplace, and they're basically trying to do an open sea like vampire attack, and they did an airdrop to people who have used OpenSea before.
Ah, means I got an airdrop.
Yeah,
That's cool. But that's like it's like what looks rare 2.0. So is the
yeah.
tokenomics the same? Because that if you
I don't
I don't
know.
want to go into details, but if it's the same, then it's like okay.
Yeah,
I'm actually curious now. I'll probably have to dive deep after this to learn a little bit more about it.
yeah. All right. So, great questions, everybody. I got to wrap up for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. If you got anything you want to talk about in live streams, definitely go ping Walshy on Twitter. I am Walshy NFG. You can see right there on his screen. If you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.